Dargon leading his warriors of the Shining Realm against the evil General Spitrax.
To Retro Wednesday, the Tidarium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the Coleco 1985 Sectaurs toy line. We're going to talk about the entire toy line, and I see a lot of videos about this, well, a lot meaning 6, talking about these toys, but no one really talks about the entire toy line. They touch on bits and pieces. We're going to hit it all today, and we're going to talk about the show just a little bit coming up. First off, the playset itself. I've already done a video about that. I'm going to link it down below, but it's a pretty awesome, massive behemoth playset. And so we're not going to talk about that so much in this video because I already have a whole video talking about it. Link down below. You can go check that out. The second thing about Sectaurs is finding weapons and accessories. This thing is really hard to find weapons and accessories. I'm going to show a little picture of sort of a chart that I found somewhere. I don't remember where, but I've kind of been using that one for a year or so to try to piece together some pieces for this. And then third, the television show. Now there was 5 episodes of the show, and the show was aired in 1985, September of 1985. And it's okay. It has a lot of the voice actors that we saw in a lot of the other shows, including G.I. Joe, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we get to each character. But let's go ahead and get into looking at these toys. So we're going to start out talking about Dargon, and he's the leader of the Warriors of Simeon. And the thing is that he is pretty much the same build as a Rambo figure. Well, he came first, and then came Rambo, I believe. So looking at these side by side, here's Rambo, here's Series 2 Chief, and I might be doing a Series 2 Rambo video eventually, but they're bigger than G.I. Joe's because they're closer to the 6.5 to 7-inch scale. See, this is probably one of the reasons that it didn't really take off. The scale was a little bit too big. It was bigger than Cops and bigger than G.I. Joe, and a lot of people were in on the 3.75 G.I. Joe scale, although this one's fallen over. Most people wanted the 3.75-inch G.I. Joe scale, and so that's kind of one of the reasons I feel it fell. But there's a couple of other reasons too, but there it goes. Size-wise, it's big, and it looks really good. Okay, so let's take a good look at this figure. Mine's got, I guess, some scuffing on him or something. But he does have quite a bit of paint. Now there's multiple colors of paint, so you have like a really shiny light blue, and then you have a dark, like a black or charcoal accent paint to it. That's a lot. That's quite a bit of paint apps on something from 1985. Now some of the paint apps wear off and scratch off, and so that's why you get some of that look to it. He does come with. They all come with kind of a rubbery holster mechanism and chest straps and kind of stuff like that. So this whole harness system that they use to hold the weapons and all that's pretty cool. This one comes with a big old gun which holsters in his spider flyer, and then here's his sword. So cool weapons, cool accessories. He also comes with a shield. I've got him on the one that's on the spider flyer, so we're going to look at that spider flyer here in just a second. Now for this one I'm going to show you the articulation. I'm a little loose on the leg there, but there's not much articulation. So you have the head side to side, you have the arms, and they're on ball joints, but they break easy. The plastic on the arms breaks really easy, and on the legs down here breaks really easy. And so you do have no waist swivel, no more hand or articulation there, but so it goes. That's as far as I'm going to go to the forward because these legs break easy. You can see the ball joint mechanism in there. You do have a 90 on the knee and stuff like that. So there's the articulation. And truthfully, I don't need a lot of articulation on these guys because I do one thing with them. They stand. They stand. Oh, the second thing they do is they sit in their flyers. All right, so here he is sitting on his dragon flyer. Now there's his shield. He's got his shield. He's holding his sword. And I guess he could hold on to these antennae, although I wouldn't advise that because I've seen a lot of these snapped off and broken. And so another thing I want to show is how he can holster his gun over here. And so that holster's really nice, and it fits it just right. It's shaped, formed for it. It works great. Also on this, kind of like they have a harness and holsters and stuff, same sort of mechanism right here. You actually have storage. You can store something in this pouch if you want to on the back, and it's separate. It connects to it. You have to kind of fold it around and clip it on and all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting right there. And then we get into the flyer itself, which is pretty cool. I think this flyer is what really started the whole toy line, or the whole the creator making a puppet and going to parties and stuff. But it is a hand puppet, and so pause it while I put it on. But the whole goal behind this is that your hand would be making it look organic, like it's actually walking, and you can make the mouth move and stuff like that. And then you have the wings. Now, the other big party trick is the wings. Originally, I don't think the idea had a motorized mechanism in it, but when you turn it on, it simulates flying. Yeah, we can see this from a different angle without my hand, but it's actually pretty effective. Now, these wings are delicate and gentle, so you do kind of have to be careful with those. And when you're looking to find these wings, getting them to where they are actually going to hold together and clip into those little plastic pieces here, these plastic connector pieces. That's the tough part about these flyers. There's two flyers, and they both have the same problems. They both have the same issues, but they have different style of wings. These wings are actually more rounded at the edges, and then the ones that are more curved are going to be on the other flyer. So this is the dragon flyer. The other one's the spider flyer. So next up on the agenda is Dargon, and this is the night flying Dargon, and he comes with his Parafly. This thing here is the Parafly. So it's kind of cool, actually. This is the only one that clips on his back, and the only bug companion that clips on his back. So really cool right there. Interesting idea right there. And he comes with these night vision goggles, and he comes with glow-in-the-dark tentacles, which they all have tentacles, but these glow in the dark. And then the tail on this glows in the dark. We'll kill the lights here in a minute to see how well it glows. He also comes with something else that's interesting, with these accessories that clip onto his leg. And so he's got a dagger, and he's got a gun that clip onto his leg, and that's pretty cool. I don't really think the original one, the flyer one, it didn't have that. So it's got to have something special. This one was standalone, and so the original one with the flyer was like 26 bucks, and this was, I guess, 8, along with the rest of the ones that were standalone figures. And so lower price point to get the leader, looks a little bit different. Still kind of cool. Actually, I kind of like this one more than the standard Dargon. Not sure if we're able to see any of this glow-in-the-dark stuff, but it glows in the dark. Alright, next up we have Mantor and Rapplor. His little bug is Rapplor. And the cool thing about this guy is, well, he is the Mantor the Mentor. Some interesting naming, what's going on there. So he comes with a little hand crossbow, kind of like Scarlet, and he comes with a shield. Now, the thing about these shields are, they have these little inserts that go inside, and the inserts correspond with the shield. I don't think any of them are interchangeable. I'm not sure 100% if any of them are interchangeable. I haven't had to really mess with that so much, but kind of cool. He got the shield. His whole waist piece and strap and all that, that is different than others. It has, of course, he's got arrows for his crossbow, and then he's got this gun. Now, for this gun here, it's different than Dargon's, and so it's a different gun. Refer to the chart, I guess, but there he is, and looks kind of cool. He can shoot with his gun, he can shoot with his crossbow, or whatever. And then the other big party trick with this guy, well, first off, he has white on him, and it's usually yellowed, and I've gone through the whitening process on all of these I come across, and they don't whiten very well. So that's as good as I could get this one. So, and I think this is my best looking, whitest looking one. So they yellow pretty bad and pretty easy. Now getting into this bug here, it has some tentacles on it too. And the odd thing is, I haven't whitened any of the white on this, and it still looks good. So maybe that's paint, why it looks so good. I don't know, because this is all one piece. Maybe that is paint, and the paint holds up better than the plastic. So it does have some paint on the eyes there. And there he is. And what year does it say on this? It says, I think it says 1984 right here. Yeah. So these toys say 1984. The show didn't come out till 1985. my understanding. Now, the cool thing about this is it's got like a grappling hook, so he could dangle. I taught her how to dangle. So the weird thing, it's a real cool kind of fun concept, and it is fun, especially when you're playing with that giant hive playset. This thing can climb up, it can rappel and grapple and do a lot of stuff. Now, to put it back, you simply, there's a line that goes all the way through it, and then you put this piece here on the back and turn. So let's put it on the back, and we turn it to wrap it back up. I think it's way more effective just to wind it and plug it in. I think the winding and plugging it in is more effective than sitting it on there and turning it. That's the way I feel about it, because you can see how fast I can put this thing back. And there it goes. This is Mentor, the Mentor, and Rappler. Next up, we have Zack and Bytor. So we'll look at Bytor first this go around. Bytor is called Bytor because he does one thing. And he does a lot. He bites like Bytor. Pretty cool looking. It's all just more or less one formed piece, and it's screwed together. I guess multiple pieces. Has to have that mechanism working inside there. So I'm guessing you can take them apart and fix that mechanism if you get one that doesn't work or something. He does have his tentacles on him too, so that's kind of cool. Now looking at Zack, a lot of people say that Zack is their favorite. This is my favorite character, my favorite figure. And a lot of people say that, well, he's the most common too. Like, you can find him pretty easy, more or less complete. One of the few that you can find complete pretty easy. I think Mantor's also easy to get complete aside from his bug. Now, he does sort of resemble Dargon a bit, the original Dargon with this blue on him, but he does have some different. He doesn't have the chest piece like the necklace and all that. So this is his kind of sash piece. He does have a big gun and a holster for his gun, and his gun is different. It doesn't have the loop on the bottom. It looks like Dargon's, but doesn't have that little hole on the bottom of it. And so he's got one of those guns. Dargon like has two guns like that, but instead he has this giant two-handle gun, and it has a strap on it to hold it on. So it's it's that heavy, it's that big, it's that heavy. He's got to have a strap for it, which is kind of interesting. It's its own special strap, not used for anything else. And then he has a shield, and his shield is different than Mantor's. So everyone seems to have a shield in this except for the night flying Dargon. So there's his shield. This is Zack. He's got the blue pinstripes on his legs also. Or red pinstripes, sorry, on his legs with a blue chest. A lot like the Dargon figure. I keep saying it, so let's go ahead and get the comparison here. They got the same blue. They got the same stripe. So similar, but yet so different. So next up on the list is Pinsor and the Battle Beetle, and he comes armored to the gills himself too. He also comes with a giant Battle Beetle. This is one of the more higher price point figures from back in the day. So let me go ahead and, let's look at the Beetle first, and we'll pull him off and have a look at him. So this is another one of those where you put your hand in here and it's a puppet, and you can move it all around. You can walk it all around. I guess let's do that. So this one has a little bit different use than the Flyers. The Flyers have motorized mechanisms. This is all mechanical, and you can pinch. So in a pinch, you can grab someone or something with the pinchers, and he holds on. This guy does kind of fall off sort of easy, but anyway, let's go ahead and have a look at the figure Pinsor. One more thing about the Battle Beetle is that it has this articulated tail. It's not really a tail. I know if you look at bugs, this isn't the tail. This is more of the abdomen or whatever, but it's fuzzy tail. I just call it a fuzzy tail, and articulates and stuff like that. It's interesting. It's just different, but not so different because the Skulk his bug has a similar type construction. Okay, so looking at the figure Pinsor himself, he does come armored to the gills, and every one of these figures, since there's only 9 of course, but they have different straps and holsters and stuff that go with them. So each one is specific to the figure, and I didn't know that really at first. I just kind of said, I'll just put whatever strap on whatever figure, and once I started trying to get it straight and correct, it turned into a bit of a nightmare. Anyway, there's a few cool things about this one, and I think you're going to see it with Skulk too. So this one mirrors the Skulk figure. We're going to see that coming up, but you can put this giant axe of his on his back so he can fly without having to worry about it. So weapon storage for every weapon is pretty awesome. He does have this cool looking sword, and it's kind of got like a angle to it. And then he's got this gun, and his gun, again, a different gun. So that's his gun. That's how it differs from even the one that Mantor. So I thought this was the same one as Mantor, but it's different than the Mantor gun. So still pretty cool looking. Does have sort of a similar blue coloring to Dargon and Zack, but then it changes a bit when it comes to the legs and all that kind of stuff. One of the things about these figures is you can see the multiple different layers of colors. So these different colors, he's blue and he's got purple and all that kind of stuff going on with him. You can detect a little bit of green in there. So I think that is the coolest part about this toy line. There's his antlers or whatever, the tentacles. Now, this is the weird part. If you look at his shield, most shields, they're on like, you'd have it up and down, like it's holded like this. But his hand is like sideways, which I don't know why exactly his hand is positioned sideways. But because it's positioned sideways, the shield is positioned sideways to put on. So strange design choices that they make with this figure. And they make strange design choices throughout the line. It's different, way different. Still kind of cool. The Suspensor and the Battle Beetle. Okay, so we're getting into the bad guys. So we did the 4 good guys, which is technically 5 because there's 2 of the same character. Now we're getting into the bad guys. There's only 4 bad guys. And this is General Spydrax. He has the Spider Flyer, and it is almost exactly the same as the Dragon Flyer. So Dargon's Dragon Flyer, this Spider Flyer, there's some differences. This one actually has fuzzy feet. So the feet are fuzzy. The glove section is fuzzy. When the glove section was just a smooth nylon type glove, now it's a fuzzy glove. And it's like they put more into it because it's the bad guy. And with every toy line, it seems like in the 80s, they had to make the bad guys cooler, better, something better about the bad guys, so they would sell. The wings are shaped different than the Dargon Flyer, the Dragon Flyer. So that's how you could tell the difference. I didn't know that at first till I started looking into the line a little bit more. He has a similar type of construction here with this, like a little place to hold stuff back here. I don't know, it's not coming undone for me. And this, I don't know what you'd call this, a saddle, whatever you put on there. And then he does have another fuzzy piece on the end here, which you don't have on the Dragon Flyer. So a lot more cool stuff here. Now, same thing with the Dragon Flyer is you can take his gun, and he has this gun here, and you can put his gun into a sheath on the actual flyer, So that's kind of cool itself too. And it does flap the wings. Yeah, it fell out. So I didn't glue these in or anything, and of course you get them in various stages of wear, but I didn't glue them in, I just kind of shove them in there when I want to use it, because I don't display it with the wings on, I display it with the wings off for space purposes, and I can pull these off real easy and just tuck them away. There's got to be more of a permanent solution on this and all that, but I haven't done it just yet. Anyway, let's go ahead and just have a look at General Spydrax by himself. So here's General Spydrax by himself. Now the thing about this figure is that he is the more expensive $25 price point back in the day, and so he came with a slew of stuff. He has a whip that's made out of rubber, and it actually, it works like a whip. You could coil it up and stuff and all that. That's cool. It doesn't stow away like that though. And he comes with this shield, which is kind of cool. It's just a round shield. It's okay, but you kind of need it for him to be complete. Then he has these 2 guns, and they're both identical. 2 identical guns that don't want to come out. See if the other one comes out easier. And for whatever reason, it's got like a little loop-de-loop on the bottom. And there it is. It's kind of cool looking. It's his gun. They call him like a Paragon or something like that. I don't know, I forgot what they call the gun. That there's like a special name for all these guns that they have. So the figure himself looks really cool. He's voiced by the same voice actor that did Destro and G.I. Joe. And finally Destro gets to rule as the leader. And look at all those eyes on his head. So he's definitely not going to miss anybody coming or going, right? But wouldn't it be hard to like focus all 6 eyes on the same thing? beautiful purple, very shiny. It's like almost not quite it's like Silverhawk shiny because it's not back metalized, but it's a real shiny paint. And I'm thinking this is probably the shiny paint we're gonna get for maybe Silverhawks from Super 7 or something like that. Now he has his whole different strap thing, and as we get into the bad guys, it gets confusing how you even put these things on. His is pretty simple. It's just literally these two straps go over and plug in together, and then they plug in back here in the back. But the other one's going to be a little more complex. We'll talk about those. So overall, cool looking figure. All the same articulation as everyone else. A little more detail in the lower legs and all that kind of stuff. Kind of fun. Let's look at the next one. All right, so next on the list here we have Waspex and Winged. Now, the weird thing about this guy is his actual bug has wings, and it's supposed to do this little flying thing. Now, I did make some fake wings in the past, but finally I found them. Finally, in 2021, these things start showing up with wings on them. They didn't, in all of 2020, I didn't see any of them with wings, unless they were like $100. I'm like, that's just dumb. I'm not spending that kind of money on them. So, reasonably priced these days. You can get them a little bit more reasonably priced. So, let's have a look at this guy here. Now, I do get kind of confused between this one and Skeeto. So, like, on an average day, I don't know which one's which. I've got to, like, look it up. But the colors match, like the blue arms, the purplish blue arms match the purplish blue on here and the green and stuff like that. So similar color schemes to the two figures, but you can see that coming up here in a second. He does come with, okay, I think this guy's is the most complicated strapping system. It's connected here, it's connected here, it's connected another place too. It's just right here, it's connected, it's right connected right here. Just a lot of stuff. It's a mess of trying to put his straps on and stuff. It's like, what all goes on here? This is his sword. It's a little chewed up, but whatever. You know, so I don't know what kid didn't chew on their weapons. You know, come on. Anyway, it's a cool looking sword. It is a cool looking sword. It's different, and they all have different accessories. I don't think any of them share any accessories that I've seen. And then there's his gun, which looks a lot like Pinsor's gun, I think, or maybe more like Mantor's gun. Similar, but different colors. See, the bad guys are gray, the good guys are gold, so they all have that strange plastic stuff going on. But there's his shield, and of course his shield is different than anyone else's shield, and the bad guys have the gray shields versus the good guys having the gold shields. Kind of the same color scheme they almost always use. They use gold for the good guys, kind of the silverish gray for the bad guys. So let's go ahead and get into looking at the other one that I kind of confused with him, Skeeto. Here we go with Skeeto and Toxid, and so kind of how you know they pair up, they both have some red together in there and some green in there and some black with the legs and stuff. So they pair up together. Interesting. Kind of cool looking. So this guy here, if you could look at his face, you can see that it almost looks like he's got multiple colors in his face, which is cool too. And he's almost looks like Spock in a way with those Spock ears right here, kind of pointy ears. It's like, hey man, don't take any offense. I'm just talking about pointy ears here. You know, it's no offense here. He's got the tentacles again. These are all flexible in all of them. Now, I do like that deep blue, or deep green, blue, green. And then, aside from the other one, like you can kind of see the similar color scheme of this one and the other one. The black arms versus the blue arms is an easy dead giveaway. And of course, the face, the Spock face. His is a pretty simple, straightforward harness mechanism and holster gimmick. But another weird thing is like this holster clips into the belt down here and it holsters a real tiny gun. So this is when you start getting into tiny gun syndrome here. I think the smaller the gun, the bigger the burst, like in Men in Black, but who knows. And then he's got his shield. Now his shield is not smooth. It's kind of a rocky terrain type of a shield. And then his sword is kind of a curved sword. It's crazy. Now this isn't chewed up, it's curved. So kind of cool looking, really cool looking figure there. Now this little guy here is supposed to shoot water. I can feel a little air coming out of there. I'm not going to shoot water here on my table. That's just kind of dumb. I'm not doing that. So, but it's still cool. It's an interesting kind of mechanism. I think this is the most common bug you can find too, because there's just not much that's going to break on him or become missing on him. So him and Vidar are the ones that are pretty easy to get. Let's have a look at the next one, which is Skulk. All right, here we go with Skulk, and he's a cool looking dude. He's kind of crazy. He's riding on this what do they call this guy? Skulk's Trancula, like Dracula, Trancula, but it's a tarantula kind of thing. Now this does have that kind of, it's like a fuzzy tail. It's not a tail, abdomen, right? And you put your hand in there and you can move all the stuff around if you wanted to do all that stuff. So really kind of cool. It does have some green, a ton of eyes. The eyes match the eyes, and then you have this here. And of course his mouth does open too if you just put your finger under there and make the mouth open and all that. So cool little gimmicks. It's an interesting one here. This one is kind of a brown, so the only one that's brown. This could be kind of scary and creepy to a little kid. Now this one doesn't come with like a saddle to put on here. So, but let's see. I have another Skulk that I'm trying to get them both complete. It's hard to, but I got a complete one separately to look at. So let me grab him real quick. So because this is a higher price point figure because he is a writer, finding his accessories is going to be a challenge. And since they don't share accessories, which I wish they did a little bit, because then it'd be easier to find these things. So he comes with this gigantic back-held fly swatter. They say it's an arrow, but it looks like a fly swatter. They call it an arrow though, so I'll call it an arrow too. He also has his own specific sword, and it sheathes right here in his holster sheath type of harness, and that's kind of cool. And his shield is huge. Of course, just like the Pinsor. The Pinsor shield is huge too, and the Pinsor is a non-motorized riding device thing there too. Now, if you move this out of the way, you're going to see that he has a gun right there. It's a small gun, and it's different than the other dude's small gun. So I think the other one that had the small gun was like a Skeeto or something like that. So one of them had a small gun also. He's got a rounded, curved thing. It's kind of hard to get that thing. It was hard to track one of those down. Unless you buy a complete one for like $100. Again, I don't want to do that. I think you can still get all this stuff pretty reasonably priced, but then tracking down all the little accessories will be the pain in the butt. This is Skulk. I think he was second in command. He was the Starscream, wasn't he? Was he the Starscream guy? So 2 more quick bits of information. There was a Series 2 plan that had a female character in it, and a lot of unproduced prototypes that float around of this Series 2. So there's still a possible way to get them if you want to pay ridiculous amounts of money for it. I'm not in on that. I'm happy with what I got. And then also Zika Toys put out a 3.75 inch series of these, and they look good. They look really nice. I don't know if I'm in on it because I really feel like the magic is at this scale and this size. I don't know if I'm really in on it at 3.75. And also, they were $23 each plus tax. $25 for a 3.75 inch figure in I think it was 2019 or 2020 when they came out. It's just too much, I think. I think they should have really tried to target like a $15 price point or a little lower than that. But who knows? They could have got it at mass retail and maybe got the price down. But I think maybe down the road, those will be even harder to get. They're still pretty easy to get right now. But it's kind of cool that they came back. Sort of. Somehow. So this has been my look at the 1985 Sectaurs. I did not show this guy was missing his net. I'm sorry about that, guys. But this is my look at these guys. They're a cool toy line. It's a nice small blip of a history in time that makes up one shelf. Huge place that I didn't really talk about, but it's linked down below. And a possible small future for it in the future. Zika Toys, I don't know if they were successful or not with their venture. I don't really know if we'll ever see like Series 2 get re-released as possibly could get released as maybe a HasLab type deal if Hasbro secures that, or something like along those lines. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this look back at Sectaurs, a pretty cool toy line that was very short-lived. Like, subscribe to Deer Hanger out.
In the far reaches of the universe is the star planet Symbion, a perfect world until their biological experiments exploded, creating an exotic realm beyond all belief. As mutant life forms ravaged their global paradise, a new and incredible species emerged. He would destroy all to rule all.